Well, good morning. Good to see you all. This is Chair French, and I am convening the Commission's regularly scheduled business meeting for this August 24th, 2021. I'm joined by my colleagues, Commissioner Keene and Commissioner Duffy. On today's agenda, we have 25 consent agenda items and one noticed item. We will begin with our consent agenda. Commissioners, you've had the opportunity to review all 25 of the items on the agenda. And I will ask each of you separately whether you have any questions or comments about those items, beginning with Commissioner Keene.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chair. No questions or comments. I want the record to reflect that I am recusing on consent agenda item number 1, which is docket number 21-CONS-3274-CEXC. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from Commissioner Duffy?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman. I do have comments on 2 orders on the consent agenda. First, in docket number 22-CONS-3093 CPEN, and that is item number 4 on the consent agenda. The Commission is issuing a $100 penalty against Apollo Energies for a violation of KAR 82-3-111, which is our temporary abandonment regulation. Commission records indicate that Apollo has already been penalized in at least 25 dockets, 16 of which involve temporary abandonment violations, including 5 of the last 6 dockets. Apollo's license has been suspended 3 times for non-compliance with temporary abandonment orders, including this month. When we issue a fine, KSA 55-164 requires it to be an actual and substantial economic deterrent. While I will vote in favor of the penalty order, given this operator's history, I don't believe the $100 fine is adequate. Second, in docket number 22-CONS-3092-CPEN, which is item number 5 on today's consent agenda, the Commission is issuing another $100 penalty against REH Oil and Gas. REH has been penalized in 18 different dockets, 7 of which involve temporary abandonment violations, including 2 of them at this very same well that we are talking about today. And their license has been suspended twice for non-compliance. Again, although I will vote in favor of the penalty order, given this operator's history, I do not believe the $100 fine is adequate. With that, Mr. Chairman, I do recommend adoption of the consent agenda items, noting the recusal of Commissioner Keene in item number 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, noting Commissioner Keene's recusal on item number 1. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved, noting Commissioner Keene's recusal on item number 1. We now move to our noticed item, and this is in docket number 21, EKME 436 TAR, and it is a proposed order on joint application to discontinue 3-part demand rate for distributed generation customers. Our presenter for this item is Mr. Brian Fedotin. Brian?
Yes, thank you, commissioners. Good morning. On May 25th, Evergy Kansas Metro, the commission staff, and the Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board filed a joint application to discontinue the 3-part demand rate for distributed generation customers. They requested that Evergy Kansas Metro be allowed to modify its distributed generation tariff to mirror the 2-part rate design approved in docket number 18 WSEE 328 RTS, which was the most recent Westar rate case. And I'll go into a little bit of the history in a moment. Just prior to the merger that created Evergy, Casey Pinnell had filed an application for a rate increase. And that was in docket number 18, KCPE 480 RTS. In that docket, there was a settlement that adopted a three-part rate for residential distributed generation customers. The commission approved that settlement and the order was not appealed. In February of 2018, Westar filed its rate increase, which was the previously mentioned 18-328 docket. And in the Westar rate case, there was a partial settlement, or I'm sorry, a non-unanimous settlement where the parties agreed that Westar would have a three-part rate for residential distributed generation customers with a demand charge. And the commission approved that non-unanimous settlement, but eventually the Kansas Supreme Court reversed that decision. Upon remand back to the commission determined that Westar's residential distributed generation rate class would remain a separate class for tracking purposes, but the tariff would mirror the two-part rate design for standard residential tariff, and DG customers would be charged the identical rate as the standard residential customers. As a result of that Westar decision, staff, Evergy, and CURB expressed some concerns that the Evergy Kansas Metro, i.e. the former Casey Pinnell, that their customers might be troubled that they remain on a three-part rate design, whereas the former Westar customers are on a two-part rate design. And this is still in recognition that the Evergy Kansas Metro rates were never legally challenged. Based on all this, the commission agrees with the joint applicants that there is potential for confusion and anger over the disparate treatment of residential DG customers in Evergy's two service territories. The commission believes it's in the public interest to treat the residential DG customers consistently throughout Evergy's service territory. Thus, the commission grants the joint application to discontinue the three-part demand rate for distributed generation customers. Evergy Kansas Metro is authorized to refund the difference in revenue collected under the RSDG rate compared to what would have been collected under the standard residential rate. And that's consistent with our order in the Westar rate case. And Evergy Kansas Metro has 60 days from this order to implement the necessary tariff changes and issue refunds to the affected residential DG customers. With that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Brian. Let me turn to my fellow commissioners first before we take up the order to see if they have any questions of you. And I will begin again with Commissioner Keen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions of me. I would simply offer this pretty obvious observation. I think, in essence, Brian, you've alluded to it, but I think the main and most salient feature of this particular order and approach is that it promotes consistency among all the Evergy divisions with respect to this particular matter. And I think therefore promotes fairness and is in the public interest. And that's the reason underlying why I will support this order. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Keen. Commissioner Duffy.
Yes, thank you. I do subscribe to Commissioner Keen's comments there that it is in the public interest and it does level the playing field for everybody. I would add that I hope that the parties to the rate case that brought about this issue continue to work on the issues as we have directed them to. And I am looking forward to an update as to the progress they have made in their discussions. With that, I move approval of this docket. of this order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the described order in this docket. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. The order is approved. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
We
Commissioners.
we have now reached the conclusion of the noticed items on our agenda for today. Hearing no further matters to come before us, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. We are adjourned. Good to see you all. Take care.
Take care.